The memorial service for Daphne Ellen Crowe will be held at Our Lady of the Way, St David's, next Wednesday at 10 a.m. A reminder that the funeral service for Gary Donald Fogarty is at 11 o'clock this morning at St John's Anglican Church, Mount Thomas.
Morning, boss.
What's going on?
Ram raid. Someone drove straight through the front window.
I do know what a ram raid is, Cooper. What do everybody got for carpet store?
The owner reckons they got away with a couple of rolls of Axminster and some underlay.
Looks like a practical joke. Well, no prizes for guessing who might think it was funny.
Yeah, there's millions of them in town for the Bachelor and Spinsters Ball over at the showgrounds.
Police work consists of more than merely pointing out the bleeding obvious, Cooper. Start door knocking, see if anybody saw the car.
Yeah, righto, boss.
You, look at seedy?
You can sleep. Worrying what this mob of delinquents were up to last night.
Well, it's one weekend a year.
It's one weekend too many.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do you live around here?
Oh, no. I'm just having a bit of a sticky beak. Dreadful mess, isn't it?
Yeah, probably kids.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they get drunk or stoned. Hey, let's ram a shop for a bit of a laugh.
Tea. Still, I expect insurance will cover it all.
Yeah, now premiums will go up again. Okay, thank you.
Look, yes, Mrs. Greaves, I'd be shocked if they were doing it in my front yard too, but I'm afraid we're a little stretched here at the moment. Look, my advice is...
David's full up.
Turn the hose on them. Bye. Yeah, we've got about half a dozen sleeping it off here. The whole idea of these balls must be to get totally legless.
Never been much of a party animal, have you, Max?
Well, I kind of like to remember the night before. Mount Thomas Police. Yes, Mrs. Greaves. Boss, a body's gone missing from Howard Brown and Son.
Oh, what?
Gary Donald Fogarty was scheduled for burial this morning. Mr. Brown arrived at 9 o'clock and discovered that the front door had been forced. The casket was open and Mr. Fogarty gone.
Oh, I knew I should never have issued those BNS liquor licences this year.
Sorry, boss?
I just knew it in my water. Well, you and Patterson better get out there.
Maybe he wasn't really dead.
And maybe he was. Maybe he just got tired of hanging around.
Shut! Constable, we want to report a crime.
Sergeant.
Sorry?
It's Sergeant.
Sorry. Our vehicle's been stolen, Sergeant. Actually, Simon's Range Rover was taken from the showground. Well, just between you, me, and the Royal Commission, I think one of those young blades from the BNS ball pinched it. Someone who got no respect for law and order. No respect.
No smoking.
Now that is a great wagon.
Oh, yeah, the ideal runabout. Good for shopping, taking the kids to school.
No, don't knock it. I went to the driving in one once. Plenty of room to stretch out in.
There was a viewing in the chapel at 6 o'clock. Mr. Fogarty's widow came to say farewell. Afterwards, we closed the casket and... my cousin Brad works for me. And this morning, this is what I found.
Is it possible that Brad removed the body?
I think not.
Would you have any idea who might have done this or why?
Personally, I don't know any body snatchers.
You don't have an alarm system, do you, Mr. Brown?
Well, this is the first time that we've ever been...
Yeah, well, a 10-year-old kid could have gotten through that front door.
I shall have to notify Mr. Fogarty's family. The service is at 11.
I'll leave that to us if you wouldn't mind, sir.
I don't suppose there's any chance of the deceased turning up again between now and then.
I think it's safest to assume that the funeral should be postponed until further notice.
Oh, and please don't touch the coffin. We'll need to dust for fingerprints.
What sort of individual would steal a body?
The same sort who'd ram a shop.
Oh, joyride's in a different league to body snatching.
These people are all away from home. Normal rules don't apply.
Too right. 2 o'clock in the morning, you're off your face. You'll dare a mate to ram a shop. It's only natural he's going to dare you to knock off a stiff.
You speaking from personal experience, matey?
I've been young and crazy, Wayne, I tell you, mate.
Look, we can't assume that the ram raiders are our body snatchers.
Let's just see what Prince PJ turns up. All right, you two go and inform the widow the funeral's off before she leaves for church. Oh, and don't tell her about the BNS crowd. I don't want a murder on my hands as well.
We'll go scout around the showgrounds. I don't reckon there'll be too much trouble finding a dead body tied to a couple of roof racks.
Hey, we could put an announcement over the PA. Attention, attention, has anyone seen the late Gary
You
Fogarty?
just treat this with the respect it deserves.
Why would anyone take him?
Let's go and sit down and have a cup of tea, all right?
Why?
Well, we don't know that yet, Mrs. Fogarty. We're making inquiries.
What a nightmare.
We'll speak to St John's and tell them to cancel the service. Now, is there anybody you'd like us to contact, relatives or friends?
I'm quite capable of telling people. Why don't you worry about finding him?
We're doing everything we can.
Takes two of you to tell me personally, does it?
How about I get one of the neighbours to come and sit in with you? Maybe help you with the children.
Oh, please. Anyway, I don't have any children. Thanks, I'm fine. You may as well go. Look, I suppose you could tell his brothers I don't have much to do with them.
Fine.
We needn't have bothered having our suits dry clean, Terry.
Tar. I can never get the hang of these things.
Look, it's most likely just some sort of sick joke, but don't worry. We'll catch the parties concerned.
Wouldn't mind having a word to him myself.
Terry, this is a police matter. No one's going to take the law into their own hands here.
We had a bottle of scotch for breakfast. So if we do find the mongrels...
The police can go to buggery.
You compound one crime with another. I would not be able to ignore that. Clear? Hart, was it?
36 years old.
Shame. Mind you, I didn't see much of him the last couple of years.
Neither did we.
Sad to say.
Sergeant Croydon, please.
He's tied up at the present, Mr. McLean.
My son-in-law's body's been stolen. What are you doing about it?
Well, we're making inquiries. That's all I can say.
Well, let me save you some time. Why don't you pick up that man's brothers for questioning? They're behind this. You can bet your pay packet on it.
You're off your bloody head, McLean.
The man ought to knock it right off.
How long did it take you to
Don't get to an early grave.
That's actionable. You heard that.
Shut up.
That's attempted assault.
Shut up, the lot of you! The only one to raise his voice around here is me. Now, Mr. McLean, my office, and you two, you are on notice.
I tried. Fogarty simply didn't fit in, any more than Julia fitted in with his family. She should never have married him. The more I fought against it, the more determined she was. Keen on him since primary school, apparently. Never got over it. I went out of my way to help that whole wretched clan.
Oh, it's amazing how ungrateful people can be.
I gave them a haulage contract worth a lot of money. They paid me back by stealing a trailer load of prime Velas. Of course, I could never prove it.
The rig jackknifed and rolled. Had a hydraulics problem. Terry was lucky to walk away from it.
Had to destroy nearly the whole load. Crying shame, wasn't it?
Oh, wicked. McLean accused us of wrecking it on purpose. For the insurance.
So what happened to the carcasses?
Had to get rid of them.
Damaged goods. Right. Damaged goods, huh? Bicky?
Bloody Gary took McLean's side. Julia had his.
Nuts and a vice.
Oh, he's probably better off out of it, mate.
They blame Julia for taking away their precious little brother. This tacky trick is right up their alley.
Oh, you don't seriously believe that?
Gary was going to be buried on our property. I mean, not my choice, you understand, but for Julia. Yeah. Now, I bet they hated the idea. And now they prevented it and hurt Julia into the bargain. Well, have you any better ideas?
We never knew his heart was that crook. Well, Julia probably broke it after she busted his balls.
He was never good enough for him when he was alive. Now they're dead keen to bury him in the McLean family plot.
Come on, fellas. Be straight with me here. Now, did you have a couple of drinks last night, break into the funeral parlour, and knock off Gary's body? Is that the deal?
There you go. We never would have... What's the word?
Decimated.
Yeah, decimated his body like that.
We would have took the coffin too.
Yeah.
Mrs. Fogarty, you've got some news.
That's supposed to be your department. I'd like to speak to Tom Croydon, please.
For everyone's sake, I want this funeral rescheduled as soon as possible.
Get him in the ground and get it all out.
I could have done without this sad little farce, Julia.
Julia,
4-3.
Boss,
we'll be with you in a sec.
these guys are for real, but if we don't search the place, we'll look pretty stupid. We'll do it.
How'd you go, matey?
Good. We had a nice time. Run about 15 unroadworthies out. No sign of any carpet thieves or body snatchers, eh?
Most of those farm vehicles look like they're ram shops.
Hey, you see this?
It'll make the boss's day.
Well, you're all invited to a garden party. Bring your own shovel.
It's beyond me how you let it happen.
Well, unfortunately, we can't be everywhere at the same time.
A body was stolen, not a packet of cigarettes from a milk bar.
I'm aware of that. The fact is that security at the pile wasn't all it should have been.
We had a miserable life. Now he doesn't have any dignity in death. So unfair.
It's a veggie patch.
Yeah? So where are the veggies? Haven't got round to planting them yet. Bit of broccoli, a few spuds. So let's get into it.
Shut up.
I hope you're going to fill it in again.
You going to dig up old man McLean's joint too?
Bloody heart attack, my giddy aunt.
Yeah, bastard probably shot him.
Righto, that's enough.
Yeah, bastard's probably run him through his combine harvester by now.
Don't you keep your accusations to yourself, eh?
Well, think about it. McLean wanted Gary dead to keep him away from his daughter.
No secret about that.
And now he is. Doesn't that strike you as a bit suspicious, pal?
But Gary died in bed. He just didn't wake up one morning.
McLean's a talker. I doubt he's a killer.
He might have a helper. You're supposing he did do it. Why would he pinch the body before it's been safely buried?
Yeah, he might have been worried that someone would point the finger at him.
Well, meaning the body has to be exhumed.
So McLean's a corpse snatcher now as well, eh?
Well, it could be his helper.
Has anyone seen a little bloke with a hump and a Transylvanian accent running around?
Oh, you guys, are you just...
What?
You're sick.
So
What about black magic? Any covens in Mount Thomas?
Oh, that's it. I will.
Don't forget your shopping, boss.
No, supposing someone did steal it for a joke, where would you dump it? In the cemetery. I'd stash it in an open grave.
Oh, good one, Eagle.
Any sensible suggestions will be gratefully received. Oh, marvellous. Prepare yourselves for a busy night.
Yeah, Saturday's normally worse than the Friday.
If you're off the beer for good, I'll have to cancel my world tour.
Ho, ho. You'd be over the showground flogging watered-down champagne to the gentry, Chrissy.
I've got 4 extra casuals manning their temporary bar and we're still understaffed. I didn't get to bed till 5.
You hear any whispers over there?
Not a word. Sick, isn't it?
Wench! A jug of ale for my friend here, and I shall have a Vestal Virgin.
Says you need a motive for murder. Ah, here's my date. Excuse me.
Funny time for a medical consultation.
PJ's a funny bloke.
We've been waiting for you to come up and turn down our beds, Chris. Still on for nude twister later, Chris?
How about you show the lady a bit of respect, please?
It's okay, Tom.
How about you recover our stolen car, Tom? Got any leads yet?
When you see a uniform, knucklehead, see me during business hours.
What a fine advertisement for the force. Bravo!
Smart boys, you are remarkably stupid.
You, weren't surprised when he died, Doc?
He was suffering from coronary artery disease. He needed open heart surgery. But he wasn't privately insured, so he had to wait his turn. Unfortunately, didn't make it.
There was no autopsy.
Well, there was no reason to request one. Gary's death was consistent with his heart condition. Why are you asking, PJ?
No, just want the full picture, that's all.
You're not suggesting that his death was unnatural.
Now, why would I suggest that?
You're a policeman.
So he could have popped off at any time then.
Had an old heart. It was only a matter of time.
Hey, did you have a nice stroll, did you? Earlier on in the morning? What? I could have sworn I saw you walking through the cemetery. You wouldn't have been looking for dead bodies, would you?
Figment of your imagination. Anyway, what were you doing there?
Well, I wasn't. Well, I was. I was
X-ray
just
vision,
keeping an eye on our patch, that's all.
Was that before or after I saw you going to the cemetery, Nick?
You just answer the phone, Constable Eagle.
Hello, Mount Thomas Police. Yes, madam. Boss, car crash out at Seven Creeks, fatal. 1 vehicle involved, lady just found it.
Do you want me to make your day? Another ram raid. Brummelow's fine furniture, 2 armchairs and a sideboard you on this time.
Well, didn't anybody hear the alarm?
The bloke who owns the shop reckons it's too hard to set. They only noticed it because they're on the way to church.
PJ!
Yeah, it was stolen from the showgrounds on Friday night.
Reckon he's been here since sometime yesterday.
Why do you say that?
Hear that buzzing? Blowflies.
Oh, yeah. Adam, did you have a good breakfast this morning?
Yeah, bacon and eggs. Why?
Good on you. Well, I want you to keep hold of them, okay? Don't start throwing them around when you have a closer look.
Me?
Hey.
What am I looking for?
Oh, ascertain whether or not the driver's deceased. Check the ID, go through his pockets. Usual stuff, mate. The manual under training.
white male, approximately 30 to 40 years, deceased. He's definitely deceased. He's got no ID, but he's wearing a suit and he's got makeup on. I'd say it's definitely Gary Fogarty.
Well, at least this has got one of our problems solved.
Yeah, what's he doing in the stolen vehicle belonging to those B&S kids? Well, the keys are still in the ignition. Those boys must be the body snatchers.
As soon as we got him ID'd, we'll pull them in. But I suppose this means they're not our ram raiders, eh?
Nah, not if the wagon's been here since yesterday.
Pity. I would like to throw in the book at those little bucks. Constable Cooper, make sure nobody interferes with the crime scene.
What happens to the body, boss?
We're going to take him on the barbie for lunch, mate.
Well, couldn't his brothers ID him?
If they could, I wouldn't be asking for her, would I? Besides, they're probably so hungover this morning they can't recognise themselves.
Talk about twisting the knife.
It can't be helped, Doyle.
Boss?
Oh, break it to her gently. The body's going to Melbourne for an autopsy. Coroner's orders. She won't be able to bury him until he gives the word.
Why?
To find out whether the body's been tampered with.
Oh, it gets better and better. Hey, listen, boss, how's your indigestion?
Oh, volcanic. Oh, I'm leaving Cooper here to guard the body. The last thing we want is for it to go missing again. And tell Patterson to bring that Fergus Reith and Simon Barrow in for a bit of a chat, all right?
We're very sorry that you have to do this.
Yes, that's my husband. Do I need to sign anything?
No, that's fine. We're very grateful for your help.
At least now I can be finally laid to rest.
Mrs. Fogarty, I'm afraid that we're going to have to take the body to Melbourne for an autopsy.
Oh, for God's sake, hasn't it been through enough?
I'd say the thief, or thieves, took the Range Rover from the showground, broke into the Undertaker's, nicked the corpse. What do you think, Si?
No other explanation, really. God knows why there's still a body, though, huh?
Looking for cheap thrills, you think, Sergeant?
We were rather hoping you might tell us.
Your keys are in the ignition, Mr. Bello. How do you explain that?
I know most of the guys at the ball. Never occurred to me anyone would steal it, though.
We think you two got loaded and went for a drive looking for trouble.
Drink drive?
Bloody idiot.
Must have seemed like a real giggle at the time, eh? Taking a corpse for a joyride?
It's a very serious allegation. You better be able to prove it.
Fergus here's doing third-year arts law at Melbourne.
Is that right?
Either you charge us, we make a few phone calls, get some representation, or you back off.
Well, look, guys, you know, the car's been found. Dead body's turned up again. Everything's cool.
I'm afraid everything isn't cool. On Friday night, a criminal, or criminals, stole a body and defiled it. They caused his widow and relatives extreme distress, and they will pay dearly for their little moment of fun, believe me.
Don't get heavy with us, man. You've got no right to detain us.
You're merely helping us with our inquiries, Mr. Reith.
I can't remember much after midnight. Apart from heaving in the car park. Drank a whole bottle of Chivas. Woke up the next morning in the hotel, still wearing my tux. Then we staggered straight back to the showground for the sausage sizzle. Simon's Range Rover was gone.
Memory lapse. That's original.
Hey, we struck out, so we got pissed instead.
Why don't you set all our minds at rest and have your fingerprints taken?
The rubber's prints are all over the funeral parlour.
It'd eliminate you immediately.
Well, you can't fingerprint me unless you charge me.
Not anymore. The law's changed.
Didn't you get up to that bit in law school?
So, you were blind drunk too?
Yeah, I was off my face.
Fergus says he remembers waking up in the car when you were driving.
He said you wanted to do something really wild.
No, I wasn't driving.
So, he was driving.
Doing law as well, Simon?
And 30-year med.
So you thought it'd be really funny to steal a body?
No, I didn't steal it.
So that was all his idea?
You're not doing yourself any favours by holding out. He didn't.
Tell us what happened, son.
We were chatting up these girls. Not really getting very far. I was telling him about all the gruesome stuff, you know, that you get up to in med school. Fergus said we should get a real body and scare him to death. I was so drunk, I said sure. The front door of that place was a real cinch to open, you know. It was like it wasn't real, sort of creeping around the dark. It was scary, like a splatter movie. Anyway, there was this coffin in the fridge. Fergus said we'd bring the guy back later, but we chickened out showing the girls. Well, I did anyway. So we just sort of cruised around instead. The three of us. I guess Fergus must have fallen asleep at the wheel. Suddenly there was this bang. I woke up. We were through this fence and going nowhere. We propped the body behind the wheel and took off. I guess it's too late to apologise, huh?
Your mate says it was all your idea.
Your mate says you expect me to fall for that?
He did. He made a full statement. Sit down. Fergus Reith, you're being charged with burglary and hindering a police investigation. Also, under the Coroner's Act, you'll be charged with tampering or interfering with a corpse. You're not required to say or do anything, but anything you say or do may be recorded and given in evidence against you. Do you understand? Do you understand?
You can't charge me. I'm doing law. You're talking felonies here, man. I'll never be admitted to the bar.
For the purposes of the tape, say if you understand.
Have you heard Constable Cooper's latest theory? He reckons there's this unhappy customer out there. He's wreaking havoc on all the shops that have ripped him off.
Or it could be a redundant salesman with a grudge.
Oh, who's worked for both the furniture store and the carpet place. Good.
Okay, so it's a long shot. I was trying to think laterally.
Oh, look, Adam, I'm very proud of you, but I think our ram raider's probably left town with the rest of the B&S bunch.
Doyle, phone the bail justice, will you? Finish with the zig and the zag in there. Do I see pizza?
You certainly do. Help yourself. Adam bought it.
How come you're not eating any?
Oh, I reckon he needs some of your antacid there, boss.
Oh, tell me it isn't pepperoni.
It's pepperoni, sorry, boss.
Come on, mate, time's up. Oh, you're carrying it fine, we're just closing.
I was just hoping we could have a word. Why are you all rugged up?
Just thought I'd take a stroll down the shops.
Oh, I see. Ram raid spotting, are we? You do realise there's no overtime in it?
Never crossed my mind.
Listen, Cooper, in the unlikely event that you do see something, don't try and be a hero, all right?
Okay, boss. Night, Chris.
Good night.
How'd you like to be still that enthusiastic?
Care for a drink? Public is shout.
No, thanks. I just thought I should tell you personally that I'm not going to issue liquor licences for next year's B&S ball.
But that means I'll go elsewhere.
That's the whole idea.
Oh, Tom, look, I know it's hell on wheels for 48 hours around here, but it's a cash injection for the town.
I appreciate that.
No, I don't think you do. You get a regular pay packet every week, whether you put in a good one or not. Merchants don't. I don't. This weekend's takings alone have saved my rear end.
Public safety has to take priority over everything else.
I think you're overreacting. Why don't you think about it for a couple of days?
I've thought about it for long enough. I should have closed the thing down years ago. Look, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, well, not half as sorry as I am, mate.
I was hanging in the jewellery shop doorway keeping a lookout, and I must have sort of dozed off. Next thing I know, this milkman grabs me in a chokehold and threatens me with a 2-litre bottle.
You're lucky you didn't run across that big redhead from the bakery. She would have flattened you with her cash box.
So you didn't spot any crazed furniture salesman?
No.
Mount Thomas Police?
You want decaf?
Yes, Mrs. King. Boss, there's been another ram raid. King's Electrical Goods. They lost a portable TV, stereo equipment, and a grandfather clock.
A grandfather clock?
Yeah, it was part of the window display.
Oh, you better get over there. You never know, he might get lucky this time if he happened to drop his driver's licence at the scene.
Autopsy report on Fogarty. Forensic pathologist says he was poisoned.
Significant deposits of the substance warfarin were found in both the kidney and liver tissues, indicating ingestion over a period of several months.
It's an anticoagulant. Stops blood clotting. They use it on heart patients, but not at that dosage. No, he died of massive internal hemorrhaging.
But it would have looked like a heart attack, would it?
I suppose.
So are we talking murder here or a doctor's incompetence?
They made a mistake.
No mistake.
But I didn't prescribe warfarin for Gary. The only medication he was on was a low dose of aspirin.
Did you see much of Gary the last few months?
I swam on several occasions.
And you didn't detect anything wrong? Any symptoms that might be explained by large doses of warfarin?
He was passing a little blood. I thought he'd probably overdone the aspirin and given himself a stomach ulcer.
Charlotte, we appreciate that you have an obligation to your patient even if he's dead, but under the circumstances...
Actually, I thought the bleeding was more likely a symptom of his other condition. He had a rather nasty case of gonorrhea. Should have looked further, shouldn't I? Warfarin and aspirin together, it can be lethal. I may have been able to prevent his death. Getting old. Do you know how he came to have warfarin in the system?
No, not yet.
You realise warfarin is the main ingredient in rat poison.
Thanks for coming in, Charlotte.
Were you treating Mrs. Fogarty for gonorrhea too?
She hasn't been in to see me for a year or more.
Oh, the dirty dog. Either Julia hasn't got it or she's been seeing a different doctor. What time are we expecting homicide?
3, 4 o'clock. You thinking what I'm thinking?
Julia knew he was playing around. Sure, that gives us a motive, but poisoning's pretty cold-blooded. I was under the impression she really loved the bloke.
Love's just the flip side of hate, boss.
Thank you for that insight, Dr. Hashem.
All right. Say it's not her. Who else? A jealous husband or what?
Well, you tell me. Listen, every house in the district would have to have a packet of rat poison in their laundry cupboard.
Well, that narrows it down. What about old man McLean? He couldn't wait to dance on Gary's grave.
Oh, they weren't even on speaking terms. Well, what's he going to say? Here, open wide, son, this rat poison's good for you?
Just put it in the food.
What have you been reading? Lives of the Great Poisoners?
Let's just get him in, boss.
Anything?
Well, something's weird. This time they took stereo equipment. They got a turntable, amps, speakers and a tape deck, but they left the CD players alone.
And they didn't take any VCRs either, just a TV.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Unless they're not fencing the stuff. Maybe it's for their own personal use. They've already got a CD player and a VCR.
Well, you can have a good think about it while you're out picking up Clive McLean.
He's a murderer.
And don't let him open his mouth.
Did you know that Gary been playing around lately?
Have you brought me in here to discuss his sex life?
It's germane to our investigation, Mr. McLean.
Well, you found the body. I gather you've caught the boys responsible. What is there to investigate?
Would you just answer the question, please?
Gary Fogarty was a randy tomcat. We all knew that.
Well, that can't have impressed you much.
Oh, what are you insinuating? Perhaps you better tell me what's going on.
His son-in-law didn't die of a heart attack. He'd been poisoned over a period of months with a drug called warfarin. It's the active constituent of rat poison. He died of massive internal hemorrhaging. We were just wondering if you might know who was responsible.
All right, thank you, Mr. McLean. That's all. Oh, I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell anybody else about this conversation while our inquiries are proceeding.
It was me. I'm the one you want.
You better sit down again. You're saying that you killed Gary Fogarty?
I couldn't bear to see Julia humiliated. I mean, being married to that animal was bad enough, but having him betray her the way he did, I mean, that was too much. I had to put a stop to it. So I poisoned him.
How?
Wasn't difficult. They'd been having a hard time making ends meet, and we regularly sent them groceries. I mean, not that he knew, of course. I mean, that would have offended his manly pride. I mixed rat poison in with the coffee. Simple, really.
So why the coffee?
Julia doesn't drink coffee. Rat poison. To kill a rat.
What do you think?
Same as you. He suspects Julia. He's lying to protect her.
Yeah, the coffee thing, though, that sounds almost feasible.
He's good at thinking on his feet. And that poison news surprised the hell out of him. What do you want to do?
Let him cool his heels for a while. Doyle, did you tell Julia Fogarty about the autopsy?
Well, yeah, you told me to.
Damn. If she's our poisoner, she's going to realise that the truth is about to raise its ugly head any minute.
Sorry, boss?
Get the keys. We're going.
It's not unknown for a black widow to kill herself, Megs.
Mrs. Fogarty, it's the police. Open up. Mrs. Fogarty, I'm going to break in.
Boss, rat poison. It's almost empty. I found it in the shed.
I didn't hear you knocking. Sorry, I took some pills.
Are you all right?
Mrs. Fogarty?
Only 2. I just wanted to sleep. Wonder when you'd find out about that.
You're making a very big mistake.
It's okay, Mr. McLean. We know where to find you.
Through there, Mrs. Fogarty.
You reckon they'll ever bring back the death penalty?
Adam, that is the most... Oh, don't worry about it.
I was just talking to Mrs. King from the electrical shop. She remembered something from Saturday morning. An insurance agent phoned her and asked if they were fully covered. She said it sounded like an old woman. So I rang the carpet place and the furniture store. Same thing. An old woman phoned them before they were raided. And you know what? I was speaking to an old woman hanging around the carpet shop on Saturday morning, and she was talking about insurance.
Well, what are we waiting for? Who is she?
I don't know. All old women look the same to me. You know, grey hair, check skirt.
I didn't want him dead.
You fed him almost 200 grams of rat bait.
Just wanted to make him ill.
Why?
We know Gary was inclined to stray.
There are no secrets in Mount Thomas. He had a low sperm count. Perhaps he was trying to compensate. I don't know why. Really, I just got used to it. As long as he always came back to me. He stopped sleeping with me 2 or 3 months ago. I got scared and angry. So I punished him by putting a teaspoon of rat bait in his meal one evening. He was sick for 3 days. I had to nurse him. I like that. He was totally dependent on me. So next time I got cross with him, I did the same thing again. Just so long as I could hold on to him. Pathetic, isn't it? I couldn't face being on my own.
Interview suspended, 14:25. Homicide are on their way up from Melbourne. They'll take it from here.
Mrs. Fogarty, Gary had contracted a venereal disease. That's probably why he stopped sleeping with you.
Surely it's manslaughter, not murder.
Well, it's up to the DPP.
What, 3 years, 5?
Depends on the judge. Maybe even less.
Check this out.
Oh, that's all right, Clifford. We don't mind being interrupted.
Oh, sorry, boss.
You hit the jackpot, did you?
Big time. The Gazette, October 93. These people have got houses backing onto the river reserve, right? And they all got flooded when the river burst its banks.
Yeah, highest flood level ever recorded.
And the insurance companies didn't want to pay out.
Well, they all thought they had flood cover, but they were only covered against water coming in through the roof, not overland. They'd been paying premiums for up to 40 years.
So how'd you work this out?
Well, I figured that the stuff being taken was for someone's personal use. I mean, there was only one of everything. So I asked myself, why would some old woman want to replace everything in her house? And there was only one answer.
That answer being?
Natural disaster, fire, flood, whatever. From there, it was just a simple matter of going back through the Gazette files, see?
And who's your old woman?
Imelda Thornton.
Well, we'll make a copper out of you yet. It's all beyond me. Well, don't just stand there. You better go and check her out. Doyle, you go and hold his hand. Ah, Mr. McLean.
Are you still holding my daughter?
Any objection to seeing him?
You can't say anything to me I haven't already said to myself.
This is all my fault.
Please, spare me the martyr routine.
Julia, I just don't know what to do to put things right.
You've just come to gloat.
This is a terrible thing. I wish you'd been able to come to me. I wish to God I hadn't shut you out. I'm sorry. I want you to know that your mother and I will stand by you. Whatever happens. If you want us.
I miss him, Dad.
Mrs. Thornton?
Oh, you're the young man from Saturday morning, aren't you?
That's right, Constable Cooper, and this is Constable Doyle. We're making some inquiries about a quantity of stolen goods.
Well, I told you. I didn't see anything.
Well, we have reason to believe you might know something about the thefts.
An old biddy like me, dear. Now, what could I possibly know?
Mrs. Thornton, we'd like to take a look through the house, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, you need some sort of warrant for that, don't you? Isn't that what it's called?
You were flooded recently.
Oh, my word, yes. Went right through the lounge room. Ruined everything.
We have reason to believe that you may have stolen some carpet, furniture, electrical equipment, and a grandfather clock. to replace your flood-damaged items.
Oh, I'm afraid you're barking up the wrong tree, dear. Well, goodbye. Oh, dear. Well, look, we haven't done anything to harm anyone, have we? And all the shops were fully insured. We checked. We're only replacing what we lost. Now, Geoffrey wanted to take a video recorder, and I said to him, no way. We didn't have one in the first place. It wouldn't be right. Oh, dear. Geoffrey! Geoffrey!
What?
Get your shirt on, love. We're under arrest.
Come again?
We're under arrest, you devil coot.
Oh. Well, better get a shirt on then.
Two more crims behind bars?
A couple of pensioners, Adam. Hardly on the 10 most wanted list.
Felon's a felon, Maggie.
Okay, Super Cop, let's go. You can buy me a bowl of noodles.
Just mailing some letters and saw your lights on. You winning?
Doesn't feel like it. Let's see. We've just arrested a decent woman for accidentally doing in her rat bag husband. Caught a couple of elderly amateur robbers looking for justice. Shaken up one of the best doctors in town and cancelled the careers of a couple of bright young blokes. Not to mention alienating our favourite hotelier.
I know what you're saying about the BNS balls. We need to attract a better class of tourists. What about a Hell's Angel collection? You want to walk me back? I owe you a beer.
Music to my ears.
Now, Tom, what about his BNS licence?
Watch it, Christine.
The memorial service for Daphne Ellen Crowe will be held at Our Lady of the Way, St David's, next Wednesday at 10 a.m. A reminder that the funeral service for Gary Donald Fogarty is at 11 o'clock this morning at St John's Anglican Church, Mount Thomas.
Morning, boss.
What's going on?
Ram raid. Someone drove straight through the front window.
I do know what a ram raid is, Cooper. Why would everybody look off a carpet store?
The owner reckons they got away with a couple of rolls of Axminster and some underlay. Looks like a practical joke.
Well, no prizes for guessing who might think it was funny.
Yeah, there's millions of them in town for the Bachelor and Spinsters Ball over at the showgrounds.
Police work consists of more than merely pointing at the bleeding obvious, Cooper. Start door knocking, see if anybody saw the car.
Yeah, righto, boss.
You, bit seedy? You can sleep. Worrying what this mob of delinquents were up to last night.
Well, it's one weekend a year.
It's one weekend too many.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do you live around here?
Oh, no. I'm just having a bit of a sticky beak. Dreadful mess, isn't it?
Yeah, probably kids.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they get drunk or stoned. Hey, let's round a shop for a bit of a laugh.
Still, I expect insurance will cover it all.
Yeah, now premiums will go up again. Okay, thank you.
Look, yes, Mrs. Greaves, I'd be shocked if they were doing it in my front yard too, but I'm afraid we're a little stretched here at the moment. Look, my advice is...
David's full up.
Turn the hose on them. Bye. Yeah, we've got about half a dozen sleeping it off here. The whole idea of these balls must be to get totally legless.
Never been much of a party animal, have you, Max?
Well, I kind of like to remember the night before. Mount Thomas Police. Yes, Mrs. Greaves. Boss, a body's gone missing from Howard Brown and Son.
What?
Gary Donald Fogarty was scheduled for burial this morning. Mr. Brown arrived at 9 o'clock and discovered that the front door had been forced. The casket was open and Mr. Fogarty gone.
Oh, I knew I should never have issued those BNS liquor licenses this year.
Sorry, boss?
I just knew it in my water. Well, you and Patterson better get out there.
Maybe he wasn't really dead.
And maybe he was. Maybe he just got tired of hanging around.
Shop! Constable, we want to report a crime.
Sergeant.
Sorry?
It's Sergeant.
Sorry. Our vehicle's been stolen, Sergeant. Actually, Simon's Range Rover was taken from the showground. Look, just between you, me, and the Royal Commission, I think one of those young blades from the BNS ball pinched it. Someone who got no respect for law and order.
No respect.
No smoking.
Now that is a great wagon.
Oh, yeah, the ideal runabout. Good for shopping, taking the kids to school.
No, don't knock it. I went to the driving in one once. Plenty of room to stretch out in.
There was a viewing in the chapel at 6 o'clock. Mr. Fogarty's widow came to say farewell. Afterwards, we closed the casket and... my cousin Brad works for me. And this morning, this is what I found.
Is it possible that Brad removed the body?
I think not.
Would you have any idea who might have done this or why?
Personally, I don't know any body snatchers.
You don't have an alarm system, do you, Mr. Brown?
This is the first time that we've ever been...
Yeah, well, a 10-year-old kid could have gotten through that front door.
I shall have to notify Mr. Fogarty's family. The service is at 11.
I'll leave that to us if you wouldn't mind, sir.